I'm still really early on in Final Fantasy 16, and although I've heard a couple people say that it doesn't really feel like a Final Fantasy game to them, I could not disagree more. I am super hooked. This is exactly what a new Final Fantasy game normally does to me. Looking at you, 13, 1, 2, and 3. I get so invested in the world, in the story, in the music, in everything going on, and that's really what I've been doing in 16 so far. I haven't done as much of the main story as I'd like because I've been running around and doing side quests and just trying to find every nook and cranny of every map. But I've also been spending a lot of time with the combat, which was definitely a different swing for Final Fantasy to take, but is something very deep and that they put a lot of time into, obviously, because it's really, really nuanced. There's a lot of different options. You can upgrade all these different abilities, and you have basically a sphere grid, but in that sphere grid, you also have the power to summon different icons, and these different icons will give different abilities. And I can't wait to get more because the two that I have so far are really fun to play around with, and I really like being able to mix and match abilities to be able to really dominate the battlefield. Is Final Fantasy 16 worth playing? Yeah, personally, I think so. But I also understand that a lot of people can't play it right now because it's unfortunately exclusive. And also because it's really expensive. I get that, man. Games are expensive nowadays, and that's a whole different discussion. Should you spend your limited budget on this one? If you're a Final Fantasy fan, you're probably going to like it, but you might not, right? Because it is different. I think the core of what makes a Final Fantasy game is still here, and I'm loving it. But more if you're a fan of action combat, this is a great game for you. It's really good. It's not quite DMC levels yet. I'm hoping we get there. I might be disappointed, but I do think the combat is really, really good. If you're just looking for a game with great combat this year, I'd say maybe go check out Hi-Fi Rush first. It's much cheaper, and you can get it through Game Pass. But if you want a really, really deep, like, fantasy story with a really cool looking world and Final Fantasy crystals and chocobos and monsters and stuff there. So many references to other games in the series already that I found, and a bunch of references to FF14, which doesn't surprise me because Yoshi P's making this one too. But at the same time, $70, PS5 exclusive, that's tough to swallow. And especially when there's other action games like Hi-Fi Rush that are right there and also really good and also have a really cool, interesting world. It's not a fantasy world, it's a high-tech world, but it's really cool. I think this is worth it. But I'm also someone that gets every Final Fantasy game and likes all but two of them, basically. I say two. Like, Final Fantasy 13-3 is my biggest problem. 13-1 and 2 were okay. 13-3 is my bugbear. 13-3 and Final Fantasy 2 are my two games that I'm like, when it comes to the series. But I like just about all of them, so my opinion may not matter much to you here. But where I'm at so far in this game, Clive is already one of my favorite Final Fantasy protagonists. I just want to give him a hug and let him know everything's okay, because the poor guy needs a break. And it's tackling some pretty heavy themes. Slavery is a really big thing in this game, and the dichotomy and the cultural divide that it causes, as we as outsiders look at these people and go, no, yeah, they don't deserve to be slaves, but the whole world is built around the idea that they are and have been. And I think it's worth experiencing, not just because of that, but also because of the way it's telling the story. So far for me, it's really, really good. Who's the real slave? The person that's treated like it, or the person that can't rise above this system that they're stuck in to recognize that these are also people and they deserve respect. And it's really interesting to see that play out so far. I like it a lot, and I'm obviously invested in putting more time into it and doing more things with it. The question then becomes, again, is it worth it for you? And all I can say is, if the gameplay you're seeing here doesn't grab you, I can't say for sure it will be. This is a game that was a day one for me, but at its price point and with its exclusivity, I get it. You know, there are other games that I think will fill that niche for you right now. However, if you have the ability to get it, I think it's absolutely worth getting. And if not, save for a sale, pick it up then, because Final Fantasy 16 seems like it's going to be something really special. It could absolutely fall apart from this point, but I'm really hoping it doesn't. So let me know your thoughts on Final Fantasy 16 in the comment section down below. And until next time, I've been Trey. This has been The Full Spectrum. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum Final Fantasy 16 has to offer.